Mr. Fletcher to that.
Thank you. Hey, police court, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry I don't have a slideshow to present you. Basically, the state's evidence is the defense evidence. The truth is the truth. The facts are the facts. We haven't tried to hide anything here. We tried to present the truth to you. I think every detective said that Tracy Nix and the family were all honest with you. Tracy Nix is innocent of these charges, ladies and gentlemen. And I ask you, please do not convict her because of your emotions over the fact that this is a child. Now, I'm not going to get into it right now, but the state has misstated some things regarding culpable negligence. I chose not to object, but I will go over that with you. I can't imagine losing a child, what that does to you. When my daughter was a child, that was my biggest fear when she was growing up. She's now got children. And also fear loss of a grandchild. It hurts. It's horrific either way. This whole thing is a tragedy, ladies and gentlemen. Don't compound this tragedy by convicting of her of something she's not guilty of. This is what the state's proven to you. They presented 15 or 16 witnesses. They presented at least 3 videos. I may have miscounted there. They showed you that Tracy Nix was a school teacher for almost 40 years. Tracy Nix was a churchgoer for almost 40 years. Sang in the choir. Taught Sunday school. Even had retreats for children. Obviously loved children. Even wrote the curriculum for these retreats, these weekend retreats. She's also a loving, caring, devoted grandmother. Grandmother, ladies and gentlemen. Loved her grandkids too. Tried to help her daughter out with Yuri. Kept Yuri a lot. Did whatever she could for Yuri and for her daughter, Kayla. And she also cared about her other grandkids. On this particular day, she was supposed to go with her daughter Rebecca's grandson out to eat and to go Christmas shopping. So that's what we have. That's who we're dealing with. A good person, a good lady, a good grandmother. You saw 3 videos. Now I'm kind of amazed here that the state shows the video from Beef O'Brady's as evidence of guilt. And I invite you to look at that video again when you get back in the jury room, because you'll have that opportunity, and just look and see what an attentive, caring, loving grandmother this lady is, still is, and how she treated Yuri. It's not something we made up. This is a video before all these events. But look for yourself and see. And don't let the state confuse you by adding these things, apples and oranges, as far as the element of culpable negligence, which is the crux of the issue in this case. Then they had 2 other videos that they showed Tracy Nix right after the incident, when she became aware of what had happened, how devastated she was. Completely, obviously loved this child, loved this baby. And then down at the sheriff's office, and even though Detective Fletcher said, well, I'm not sure I told her that she was being recorded or not, obviously she didn't know that. You can see her reaction and how much it affected her and how much she loved this child. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tracy Nix is guilty of simple negligence, and we don't deny that, but not criminal negligence. And you don't really hear about people being criminally charged for simple negligence. Give you an example. You run off the road a little bit. Maybe there's a hole there, whatever. 3 or 4 people die. You hear about traffic accidents. 5 or 6 people get killed. Simple negligence. Nobody's charged. This happens all the time. Now, we discussed a little bit on opening statement about you hear people, parents or whoever, leaving babies in the car seat. You don't know what the ultimate disposition is. You hear, well, they got arrested. Depends on the facts whether you're guilty. You've got to have culpable negligence, ladies and gentlemen. These criminal jury instructions, the state looked at them and they suggest, they misinterpreted, and they've added, they've confused these 3 elements. There's 3 elements. There's no doubt that the child has passed away. Count 2, the death was caused by culpable negligence. And then count 3, the child was, Yuri was a child, and her death was caused by the neglect of Tracy Nix. And that's where he's confusing 2 and 3 and trying to sell this to you. Culpable negligence. Please listen carefully, and I can't stress this enough. Every person has a duty to act reasonably toward others, and this is what the judge is going to read to you. If there's a violation of that duty without any conscious intent to harm, that violation is negligence. That's what we have. Read it again. Every person has a duty to act reasonably toward others. If there's a violation of that duty without any conscious intent to harm, that violation is negligence. Conscious. Where have they shown you anywhere that Tracy Nix consciously did this? Now, this is culpable negligence. The defendant cannot be guilty of aggravated manslaughter by causing a death because of a merely negligent act. She forgot. That's the act. That's not culpable negligence. Forgetting. It's more than a failure to use ordinary care toward others. In order for it to be culpable, it must be gross and flagrant. Again, separate the act from what actually the result was. You have to separate the two. It's got to be gross and flagrant. She forgot. She simply forgot. Grandma forgot. Culpable negligence is a course of conduct showing reckless disregard of human life. Do you think she intentionally left this child in this car? Can you possibly, after seeing those videos, even think for a second that she intentionally and recklessly left this kid in this car? She forgot. Simple negligence, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm just reading the jury instruction. Culpable negligence is a reckless disregard of human life or the safety of persons exposed to its dangerous effects, or an entire want of care as to raise a presumption of conscious indifference to the consequences. Do you think for a second that she had a conscious indifference to the consequences? Again, she forgot. The results are horrendous. That's a separate element. They have to prove culpable negligence, and they can't do it. They can put on diaper bags. They can put on this timeline. They can put on this video from Beef O'Brady's, but none of that shows culpable negligence. This is extremely high burden of proof that they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Continuing. Wantonness or recklessness, grossly careless disregard for the safety and welfare of the public, or such an indifference to the rights of others as is equivalent to an intentional violation of rights. Did they come anywhere close to showing any type of intentional violation of rights? It has to be tantamount or equivalent to an intentional violation of rights. Culpable negligence is consciously, and again, I'm continuing reading the jury instruction. Culpable negligence is consciously doing an act or following a course of conduct that the defendant must have known or reasonably should have known was likely to cause death or great bodily injury. This is replete with gross, flagrant, conscious disregard. There's nothing here to show that. They've shown simple negligence. Again, every person has a duty to act reasonably toward others. If there's a violation of that duty without any conscious intent to harm, that violation is negligence. Again, that's what we have. These are very serious charges. I ask you to deliberate, read these instructions at 7.7a, and look at the definition of culpable negligence. They have not proven it. The whole issue here, again, is culpable negligence, and she forgot when she got home. And you say, well, why did she forget? I don't know. The brain's a strange thing. Why did she forget? Was it age? Distractions? They had the roofers there that day. You had other plans. But again, she simply forgot. She simply forgot. And when she remembered, well, you saw what happened when she remembered. You know, Tracy Nix has to live with this forever too, carry that burden for what happened that day. But again, it was simple negligence. When you forget, you forget. And when you remember, why do you remember again? Now, I'm sure every one of you, regardless of your age, has had an incident or a number of incidents where you're supposed to pick up something or somebody on the way to work, and you get to work. You're supposed to pick up something at the grocery store on the way home. You forget. It's simple negligence. It was simple negligence here. The state was wrong when they said that there's a higher duty when it's a child. That's number 3. That's not number 2. There's nothing in culpable negligence that talks about babies as opposed to anybody else. You have to look at that. The actions of Mrs. Nix. The actions, not the results. There's nothing we can do to bring this child back, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I urge you to look at the definition. Again, he's taking simple facts. He's turning that into culpable negligence. And please don't make this terrible situation worse by convicting Tracy Nix of something that she's not guilty of. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor State.